expecting Keir Starmer, the UK Premier.
Yes, he's coming tonight.
What do you think of him? Some of his colleagues in government are quite critical of you.
Well, I'm going to see him in about an hour, so I have to be nice, right? But I actually think he's very nice. I think he ran a great race. He did very well. It's very early, but he's popular, and I'll be seeing him, and I'll send you regards. Who are you with?
GB News in the UK.
Okay, good.
But would you rather Nigel Farage would have had a bigger role?
Well, I think Nigel is great. I mean, I've known him for a long time. He had a great election, too. He picked up a lot of seats, more seats than he was allowed to have, actually. They acknowledge that he won, but for some reason you have a very strange system over there. You might win him, but...
Stay tuned, because Donald Trump's recent remarks about British Prime Minister Keir Starmer are shaking up the political arena in both the US and the UK. This fierce criticism of Trump is not just a verbal skirmish, but a real challenge that casts a shadow over Starmer's leadership, his political decisions, and even Britain's place in the world. Could this be a seminal moment in international politics? Trump's words were not accidental. It was an elaborate and blunt attack that ignited a heated debate not only in Britain but around the world. Why does Trump, the former US president, decide to question the leadership of such an important ally? And what does this say about the difficulties that world leaders face in our hyper-connected world? We will dive into this fascinating topic. Trump's harsh statements, the consequences for Starmer, and how this changes the dynamics of relations with the UK.
Can I begin by congratulating President-elect Trump on his historic election victory. As the closest of allies, the UK and US will continue to work together to protect our shared values of freedom and democracy. And having had dinner with President-elect Trump just a few weeks ago, I look forward to working with him in the years to come.
It's no secret that Donald Trump loves provocations and scandals. His presidency has transformed our understanding of political rhetoric, and even after leaving office, he continues to exert a powerful influence on global discourse. But his recent remarks about Keir Starmer go beyond the usual criticism. This is a real attack. These words do not just refer to Starmer's personality. They represent a deep and harsh assessment of the leadership of the Labour Party and the serious challenges facing Britain in the post-Brexit era. Trump was not shy about the details, boldly describing the economic difficulties and immigration issues, which, in his opinion, are Starmer's failures. Why is Trump, who is no longer president, so fiercely criticizing Starmer? The answer may lie in a broader ideological struggle between populist leaders like Trump and technocrats like Starmer. His first and perhaps harshest criticism was directed specifically at Starmer's leadership. For Trump, Starmer is a symbol of everything he dislikes about modern politics: caution, bureaucracy, and, in his opinion, a complete lack of courage needed to cope with the challenges of an unstable world. He accused Starmer of being indecisive, overly dependent on committees and advisors, and failing to take advantage of the unique opportunities offered by Brexit.
Labour is sucking the oxygen from all the other political parties by having media focus on them. It doesn't matter. This was a wonderful tactic. It was a brilliant move. It was straight out of Donald Trump's playbook. It doesn't matter.
That's a positive thing?
Absolutely positive, because you are focused on them. Donald Trump has proven that. It doesn't matter how bad the news is.
But we don't live in the US, do we? Keir Starmer is not Donald Trump.
He's using the same tactics.
And that doesn't worry you at all? That Keir Starmer, in your view, I actually disagree.
You live in, because the media buy into it.
Keir Starmer is now aping Donald Trump, and you think that's a good thing?
According to Trump, Britain urgently needed a bold vision to determine its course after Brexit, but Starmer, according to him, showed only caution, leaving the country in a state of missed opportunities. But is this really fair? Starmer's supporters argue that his measured approach is exactly what Britain needs in these troubling times of uncertainty. They stress that boldness without a clear strategy can lead to chaos, and this is the kind of criticism that is often directed at Trump himself. Nevertheless, Trump's words are causing growing discontent among voters who believe that true leadership means taking decisive action, even if it involves risk. Trump also did not ignore the economy, openly criticizing Starmer for managing a stagnant economy plagued by high taxes, excessive regulation, and a lack of innovative measures to stimulate growth. https://www.typeslashdotcom/shorts/5mlnz_ydgy.
So Keir Starmer, the United States and France are Britain's biggest allies. You become Prime Minister, there could be a world in which Trump and Marine Le Pen are in office. How would you feel about this?
It's for voters in America and France to decide who they want as their leaders. And if I'm privileged enough to come into office to serve this country, I will deal with the leaders of other countries as they've been elected in by those that live there and those that voted them in.
He argues that Starmer's policy is only exacerbating Britain's economic problems, which have already been severely affected by changes in trade after Brexit and the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Inflation, rising living costs, and a lack of investment in key industries have left many Britons feeling stranded. What solution does Trump propose? He cites his own experience of tax cuts and deregulation, arguing that such policies can unlock Britain's economic potential. However, critics of his approach argue that deregulation is not a universal solution. The UK's economic problems have deep structural roots, and quick solutions may not be enough to fix them. Is the Starmer government doing enough to boost economic growth? What alternative strategies can Britain use? Foreign policy is also under threat, and Britain's place in the world is becoming increasingly uncertain. Trump did not limit his criticism only to internal problems, emphasizing that the situation requires more serious attention and action.
I was in government when Trump came in, and this is a foreshadowing for the Prime Minister of what is going to come under a Trump administration. They will be derailed almost every day by something that the President says or what the White House releases or a decision that they make that is going to distract from what it is the government wants to talk about. I mean, we had situations in Downing Street where Trump would wander out onto the White House lawn in front of the cameras and say, oh, something's happened in the UK, I'm going to go and call Theresa. And suddenly the phone would ring in the Prime Minister's office. Oh, God, the President's on the phone. And this is a foreshadowing for it.
Trump also criticized Starmer's foreign policy, accusing him of weakening Britain's position in the international arena. He stated that Britain should be a leader, not follow others. In his opinion, Starmer failed to strengthen Britain's influence in key relations with the United States, China, and the European Union. Trump believes that Starmer's cautious approach has left the UK behind in the face of increasing geopolitical competition. This criticism touches on a very sensitive topic. Britain is still trying to define its role in the world after Brexit, and mistakes in foreign policy can have serious consequences. Starmer's supporters argue that his approach is based on stability and long-term alliances rather than short-term benefits. Nevertheless, Trump's words resonate with those who believe that Britain has lost its voice and influence in world affairs. As always, Trump's speech was not without a discussion of immigration. He accused Starmer of failing to control Britain's borders, which he said had led to an unprecedented crisis of illegal immigration. A nation without borders is not a nation, Trump said, repeating a key theme of his presidency. And it really matters.
A really good meeting. We had dinner together.
Did you have a burger? Or steak? Doesn't he have steak?
He didn't have steak
meal?
on that occasion. He had chicken. He flew up from Florida, and we both wanted to ensure that we have a good relationship. That was the purpose of the dinner. And
did he feel like a man you could do business with if he was to win?
Look, of course, because it's up to the American people to choose who they want as their president. And it's up to me as Prime Minister to make sure I have a good relationship with whoever the president is. The special relationship that we do have between our two countries sits above whoever the post holder is at any given time. Mm-hmm. And it's in my nature. I believe strongly in personal relations.
Immigration is one of the most pressing and controversial issues in UK politics, causing real passions. The debate covers a wide range of topics, from asylum to labour shortages, from national security to economic growth. The Starmer government has been heavily criticised for its stance on immigration, but the issue is actually much more complex than Trump's remarks might suggest. Finding a balance between humanitarian obligations and border control is a real conundrum that every leader faces, and there simply are no simple solutions. This is a clash of traditional values and modern progressivism, and it causes violent emotions. Trump did not limit himself to political criticism. He also touched on cultural issues, accusing Starmer of promoting policies that undermine traditional British values. What is your opinion about this video? Share your thoughts in the comments. See you later.